Hi there, it's Liz from Old Stables Crafts. Thank you so much for joining me again today. And it's Simple Stamping Saturday time. Little later than I had planned, but you know, life happens. So, I'm looking at two sale-a-bration items today, and they're both level 1 items. So if you're in the UK, that's £45 per item. So your order is £45, you get to choose a level 1 item. If you put in an order for £90, you can choose either a level 1 or a level 2. Sorry, either 2 level 1s or 1 level 2. So this is the stamp set. It's called Heal Your Heart. It's got some really lovely sentiments on it. It's not just about sorrow. There is the thank you, which is actually what I'm going to be focusing on. But lovely sentiments. Very well worth a look. And I'm also using, I can never remember the name, the Flower and Field Designer Series paper. I am chopping through mine like nobody's business. So we've got florals, we've got stripes, more florals, some foliage, a sort of chevron pattern, more flowers, more flowers, dots, and more floral, and the one that I'm using this morning, which is floral on one side and a pattern on the other. So this is the B side and this is the A side. I'm going to be using the A side. As ever, I'm looking at a note card and envelope. So I've got one of our white note cards and envelopes. I'm going to be calling them white for quite a while to come, until everything is fully transitioned in my room from Whisper White to Basic White. I have ordered some Basic White, but it's not arrived yet, so as soon as it does, I will do a compare and contrast for you. So all I've done is cover the envelope flap with some paper, and then I've used a piece of Whisper White, the Misty Moonlight stamp pad, because this is Misty Moonlight, and then I've just covered the front of the card with the paper. Now, because of the way I've cut my paper, I'm going to have to use some of my full sheet for the envelope, but for the card, I'm hoping I can get away with using this piece. So let's have a look. So what I do for if I'm covering the front of a card is I fold my card in half first, like that, so that if there's any difference between the front and the back, I can take that into account. This is very fractionally smaller, so this is going to be my front, because it's always easier to open a card that is bigger at the front than the back, and I'm just going to get away with it, I think. Just. So what I'm going to do is stick this onto here so that it lines up with the fold, and then I'm just going to trim that piece off. So to do that, I'm going to take my seal and just run seal all the way around the outside of my card front. I don't normally, if I'm sticking a mat onto a card front, I don't put adhesive all the way round. Sorry, it's almost run out and it's getting a little stiff. So yeah, I don't normally run adhesive all the way around my card front, but when I'm covering the whole of the front, I will, because that way I know it's actually going to stick. I'll just pop a bit across the middle, just so that we know it's properly adhered. And then I'm going to turn my paper over and take my card and line the edge up. I'm going to turn it so I can see the top as well. So I'm going to line up with that edge and that fold, press, run my bone folder over the back, and then I'm just going to trim this piece off with my paper snips, and all I'm going to do is run my snips along here so that this edge lines up with the edge of the card. Simple as that. And I've just realised, is my light in the camera? Only a little, that's fine. I suddenly realised it was further forward than normal. If you hear percussion in the background, it's because it's raining, just for a change. So there we have our beautifully covered note card. So while I'm doing things with snips, I'm going to bring in my envelope and I'm going to do basically the same thing. So I'm going to run seal right the way round the outside edge of my envelope flap. Now, we did in the Christmas catalogue have the, by Christmas I mean August, December. I mustn't say, well, it is Christmas, that's fine. I won't say, I was thinking I was saying autumn, winter. Anyone who's watching in Australia would be saying, no, no, it's not. It's not winter when it's Christmas. But in the autumn, winter catalogue, we had, sorry, you know what I mean. We had some envelope dies. If you've got those, I think one of them does cut out the flap, so that's quite useful to know. I know it cuts out something for the inside, but I think from memory it cuts out the flap as well. So I'm just going to trim this again by hand, and so long as you just follow the paper around the edge. I'm doing it a little cack-handed because I have got lights in the way. So having a piece of 12 by 12 paper is not the best idea. Let me do that, and then then it's free. It's much easier when it's released from the paper. And there we go. And there is our lovely envelope flap. So someone will know that there's something nice inside it. Right, so let me grab a piece of scrap white and then I will show you what I did for the sentiment. So I've got my thank you sentiment on my piece of white. I may be able to get away with a smaller piece of... I'm burying things, isn't it dreadful? I really must. No, I think we're going to stick with what we've got. I really must tidy up my craft room, which looks like a bomb has landed in it. But hey-ho. Right, so I'm going to ink up my stamp, just very gently tapping it, make sure it's fully inked, and then I'm just going to line it up so that the thank you is straight, and I'm going as near to the bottom and a side as possible. And I think that looks straight. Stamp it down. It's quite forgiving, this script, because it's so flowing. If it's not completely straight, nobody's going to know. They're not going to notice, because what are you lining it up to? Which bit of that lovely flowing script are you lining up? So that's that clean. I'm just going to bring in my little chopper, because it's the quickest way for me to trim this down. So I'm just going to pop that into my mini chopper, which was a sale-a-bration perk for new joiners last sale-a-bration, and I believe is still available for demonstrators on the demonstrator website. But that's the only way you can get hold of it. So all I've done is trim round so that it's nice and kind of shaped round the sentiment. And then I'm simply going to take that, add some more adhesive to the back, and just add it to the front of my card. Whoops! It's just got a little bit stiff as it's coming to the end of the reel. I remember a fast fuse used to do that as well. So all I'm going to do is pop it down so that it's, again, central within itself, like that. And that is our quick, simple card. Nothing fancy, no measuring. Who wants to measure when you can just cut? So that's our first card. The second card, so this is my first stepped up version. I've introduced two colours of card. So I've got Shaded Spruce, which is this green, which is the green in the pattern, and Misty Moonlight, which is the blue. Then I have also introduced some Misty Moonlight ribbon. I've stamped on Whisper White, and then I've punched with, I want to say this is the Storytime punch. I'll list it when over on my website so that you can find that. And I've punched it both in shaded spruce and then obviously the sentiment, and I've just cut it down the middle of the shaded spruce, split it out a bit and extended it so that it's got this shaded spruce surround. So that's my first stepped up version. My second stepped up version is basically the same thing, but this time I've introduced the it's the dies that go with the So Sentimental. Stitch So Sweetly, that's the one. So I've just die cut in shaded spruce and whisper white for that. And again, I stamped first, die cut second, much easier to do it that way. And the shaded spruce is from the middle of the paper, because nobody's going to know, because nobody's going to see the middle of this piece of card here. So there you go. I hope you've enjoyed that. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Do leave a comment and do remember to subscribe. You just have to hit the subscribe button. And if you want to get a notification when I go live, which I'm doing twice a week at the moment, hit the notification bell as well. If you're in the UK, don't forget that you can order from my online store 24/7 just by clicking the link to the online store. And that is below and over on my website as well. There's a link to my website which will deal with this post also below in the description bar. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a lovely rest of your day. Sorry it's a bit later than usual today, but life has rather taken over. So thank you very much, and I will see you again very soon. Bye!